Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in. It's hard to believe this week is almost over. It's been a busy one and another busy day. Not surprising, a Biden-appointed judge is blocking the deportation of the suspected Boulder attacker, his family, despite visa violations. We have that updated story. And the hits keep on coming. Judge James Boberg is back in the news, this time ruling that the Trump administration must give more than 100 migrants sent to a notorious prison in El Salvador. Remember that? Remember the flights? They must go back and give these prisoners a chance to challenge their deportations. President Trump is banning travel to U.S. from several countries to block who he is calling dangerous foreign actors. And former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre made headlines yesterday when she announced she's leaving the Democrat Party to become an independent. The announcement comes at a time when her new book is set to be published this fall.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
All right, so this is where headlines start sounding like satire. And I promise I'm not making this up. This is real. A federal judge in Colorado just blocked the deportation of the wife and 5 children of Mohamed Soliman, the guy accused of firebombing a peaceful pro-Israel protest in Boulder with Molotov cocktails, setting them on fire. Let's be clear. This isn't about guilt by association with his family. But according to Homeland Security, Solomon's wife and kids have overstayed their visas as well. And his asylum claim, which he filed last year, still hasn't been resolved. So what does the Biden-appointed judge say? That deporting the family could cause irreparable harm. Irreparable harm. Wonder how that judge feels about the irreparable harm he did to those families, to the people he attacked. Now, I know his family does not necessarily play a role in that. We don't know what their role is. We don't know how much they know or knew of what he was doing. We just know that he had left a note saying that he had delayed the attack until his daughter graduated high school. And never mind that Homeland Security is also investigating whether they knew about or supported the attack. Never mind that this guy allegedly planned it for a year. He left goodbye notes at home. And here's the real thing. This ruling came not from the family's lawyers, but from a friend of the family who filed the emergency motion on their behalf. Meanwhile, ICE says that the whole family was taken into custody legally. Secretary Kristi Noem says the feds are actively investigating their potential ties to the attack. So while Boulder still reels, while 8 people recover from burns and trauma, and while communities demand answers, we've got sanctuary politics and emergency rulings stepping in to protect those possibly connected to terrorism from immigration enforcement. Wow. Meanwhile, this is another one of those you're not going to believe it stories. A federal judge ruled yesterday that the Trump administration must give more than 100 migrants who were sent to El Salvador, to that prison in El Salvador, a chance to challenge their deportations. You can't make this stuff up. This is our buddy, Judge James Boasberg. He said that people who were sent to the prison back in March under the 18th century wartime law, that they haven't been able to formally contest removals or allegations that they are members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. He ordered the administration to work towards giving them a way to file those challenges. You think that's going to happen? You think the Trump administration is going to come up with some way that these folks can challenge their deportation? Look, forget about whether or not they were part of this gang. The thing they all have in common is they were in our country illegally anyway. I don't care if they're a gang member or not. We got them rid of them. We sent them back home. Let them stay there. Leave them alone, Judge. The judge wrote that, quote, significant evidence has surfaced indicating that many of the migrants in prison in El Salvador are not connected to the gang and thus languish in a foreign prison on flimsy, even frivolous accusations, he said. Look, there's nothing frivolous or flimsy about the fact that they were illegals. They were in our country illegally. That's a given. Whether they're a gang member, I don't care. Judge Boasberg gave the administration 1 week to come up with a manner in which at least 137 people can make those claims, even while they're formally in the custody of El Salvador. It's the latest milestone in this months-long saga over the fate of these deportees in prison at El Salvador's notorious terrorism confinement center. We all know the story. After Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 in March and prepared to fly plane loads of the accused gang members to El Salvador and out of the jurisdiction of U.S. courts, Boasberg ordered them to return the planes. Turn them around. Come back. The demand was ignored. Boasberg has found probable cause that the administration committed contempt of court after the flight landed. El Salvador president posted a taunting message on social media, reposted by some of Trump's top aides, that read, "Oopsie, too late." The U.S. Supreme Court later ruled that anyone targeted under the AEA has the right to appeal to a judge to contest their designation as an enemy of the state. Boasberg, in his latest ruling, wrote that he was simply applying that principle to those who have been removed already. Boasberg said the administration plainly deprived the immigrants of a chance to challenge their removals before they were put on flights. Therefore, he says the government must handle the migrants' cases now as if they would have been if the government had not provided constitutionally inadequate process. The administration and its supporters, of course, have targeted Judge Boasberg for his initial order halting deportation, his contempt inquiry, part of their growing battle with the judiciary as it puts the brakes on Trump's efforts to remake government and to close our borders and to make our country safe again. But look, it doesn't appear that these orders are slowing ICE down. Immigration agents have dramatically ramped up arrests just in the last couple of weeks. They cuffed 2,200 illegal migrants on Tuesday of this week alone. That followed a big weekend of about 1,600 over Saturday and Sunday. The new arrest numbers mark a 37% jump of daily arrest in the last 2 weeks. And Immigration and Customs Enforcement sources say the pressure is on as they work around the clock with no days off while they're being instructed to take to the streets and not be at the office. Get out there and do your job is basically what the Secretary, Kristi Noem, was telling them. The White House initially demanded an 1,800 per day quota in January. Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Noem reportedly expressed their frustrations with the current level of arrest to ICE leadership at a May 21st meeting when they pushed ICE to make a minimum of 3,000 arrests per day. Miller confirmed the new quota during an interview with Fox News, Sean Hannity's show. The White House official said, under President Trump's leadership, we are looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every single day. And President Trump is going to keep pushing to get that number up high each and every single day so we can get all the Biden illegals that were flooded into our country for 4 years out of our country. And this is great. I love this. According to the report, in the first 100 days of the Trump administration, ICE arrested 66,463 illegal migrants and deported 65,682 individuals, according to the agency. And that's what I would love to know for sure. Are we getting these people out of our country, or are they just sitting in a jail somewhere and we're feeding them and housing them to do nothing? Are we able to get these people out of here? The Trump administration has focused on targeting illegal migrants who have criminal records or deportation orders as part of its mass deportation agenda. And that's what you have to keep reminding people, because you have the Democrats, you have the left running around half mad as if we're just snatching up innocent people. But everybody that they're targeting has a criminal record in the United States. In some cases, these people have already had a deportation order by a judge, and we just haven't found them. Nobody's made the effort to find them. So they know that they have to leave. They know that they've been told to leave, but they have, until somebody actually catches them and makes them leave, they're just working and playing and doing whatever they want to do until that time comes. Well, guess what? Time's up. Because Tom Holman and his group, they're going to come knocking on your door. So you might want to keep a bag packed. Be ready to go on very quick notice. Because I don't think, regardless of what Judge Boasberg or any of these leftist judges do, I don't think it's going to slow them down. I think they're going to get that 3,000 a day goal, whether or not the judges like it or not. Joey Hudson here. America is facing a health crisis, and the answer isn't more meds. I lost over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan without Ozempic or any weight loss shots. Don't settle for a lifetime of medication. GLP-1 injections like Ozempic help some people lose weight, but they come with side effects, high cost, and most gain it back when they stop. At PhD Weight Loss, we reveal Big Pharma's big secret. Your body already makes GLP-1, the appetite-fighting hormone. Our program helps your body make it naturally so you'll drop the pounds faster. With the PhD method, no side effects, no long-term risk, no rebound weight gain, just natural, lasting results, all without hunger or cravings. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. Discover your body's true potential without a shot. It's free and gives you the keys to your personalized plan. Do like I did and don't trade your health for a quick fix. Call now at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or visit myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com. Did you hear the news that former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday says that she is registering as an independent and is leaving the Democrat Party? She made the announcement as she was also announcing a book that's coming up this fall about her time in the Biden administration. It's going to be interesting to read what she has to say, isn't it? Jean-Pierre, of course, a longtime Democrat Party operative. She's urging Americans to step outside harsh party lines in her new book. Guess what the title is? Now, keep in mind, I just told you she's going to leave the Democrat Party, and she's going to now be known as an independent. Title of her book, Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines. The description also says that the former Biden press secretary didn't come to the decision about leaving the party lightly. According to the Associated Press, she said, until January 20th, I was responsible for speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. At noon on that day, I became a private citizen who, like all Americans and many of our allies around the world, had to contend with what was to come next for our country. She said, I was determined that the danger we face as a country requires freeing ourselves of boxes. We need to be willing to exercise the ability to think creatively and plan strategically, she said. Jean-Pierre also shared the news in a video posted to Instagram, where she explained that the new book was her answer to a way forward for Americans who feel distraught about the current Trump administration.
How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers. Hi, I'm Karine Jean-Pierre, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out this fall called Independent. It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Karine, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in right now is, if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. And that is, I think, so important. So this book, Independent, it's about looking outside of boxes, not just always being in a partisan stance. And how do we move forward together in a compassionate way, in a way that really, truly cares about people? October 21st.
So you tell me, are you ready to move forward with Jean-Pierre? Are you interested in her challenge to be able to stop thinking about Democrats, Republicans, but to think about people in general and how we can get along, how we can be in unity with one another? Look, again, let me get back to why I think she decided to leave the Democrat Party. Not because she disagrees with what they believe in, but because this was a PR stunt. You think it's interesting that, or just a coincidence that she became an independent the day that she also announced that her book is titled Independent? It's a publicity stunt. And look, she is, whether you like her or not, Jean-Pierre has been a Democrat Party hack for years. She worked for the 2020 Biden-Harris campaign, served as a spokesperson for the far-left Move On advocacy group. She said that the book was about not always being in a partisan stance. The description also says that the book, you heard her say October 21st, will look at the 3 weeks that led to Biden's abandoning his bid for a second term and the betrayal by the Democrat Party that led to his decision. Now, I don't think she's going to be kind to the Democrat Party and the powers that be within the party. We've had several books that have come out faster than I thought they would. I knew there'd be an onslaught of books. I didn't realize they'd get them to press this quickly. That means that a lot of these people were writing these books even before they left the Biden administration. Several books have been written about the Biden-Harris White House. You've got Jake Tapper's and Alex Thompson's Original Sin. Don't have that one yet. Jean-Pierre, you may recall, routinely dismissed questions about Joe Biden's fitness while she was his White House press secretary. When CNN host Don Lemon last year asked her the question, she said, "Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him." Meaning that, when host Don Lemon had asked about whether Biden's ability to serve a second term was a question for her. And she claimed she couldn't keep up with him. In February, Jean-Pierre accused Democrats of unleashing a firing squad on the former president, who was forced off the Democrat presidential ticket. She said, "I've never seen anything like it before. I've never seen a party do that in the way that they did, and it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person I believe did everything he can for our country. Surely she doesn't think and still think that Joe Biden should have been the party nominee. Again, she saw him up close, personal. She had to know that he wasn't capable of serving another term. There is so much going on in our nation's capital right now over the one big, beautiful bill. It's just hard to keep up with. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller yesterday made the case for President Trump's big, beautiful bill, the budget reconciliation bill, in a series of posts on social media. In the X post, Miller outlined why the bill is the most essential piece of legislation currently under consideration in the entire Western world, he said. His Wednesday morning post sought to clarify what he calls one of the biggest points of confusion, spending versus tax cuts. He wrote on X, the lefty CBO, Congressional Budget Office, says extending the 2017 tax cuts, preventing their expiration, increases the deficit. Some critics have seen this figure and claimed or implied the bill increases spending. Even according to CBO, the bill cut spending over $1.6 trillion. So when a libertarian, Senator Rand Paul, attacks the deficit impact of the bill, they are attacking the tax cut. He said a second major point of confusion is what's actually in a reconciliation bill. It is not an appropriations bill or a general budget bill. It provides no funding or authorization for 99% of the operations of the government. It was written not by appropriators, but some of the most conservative members of the House. It has not a single Democrat provision or vote. That created just a flurry of activity yesterday. Miller wrote, the bill will increase by orders of magnitude the scope, scale, and speed of removing illegal and criminal aliens from the U.S., adding that now is the only chance to pass these immigration enforcement measures with 218 House Republicans and 50 GOP senators. He said, in addition to the most significant border security and deportation effort in history, the extension and expansion of the Trump tax cuts, which he says is actually what the CBO is scoring, not spending, but tax cuts, and the largest welfare reform in history, cutting almost $2 trillion in spending. So, what are all these things swirling around? Look, there's a sense of panic in Washington, D.C., as we've seen this week with Elon Musk breaking rank. House Republicans are fuming behind closed doors, and it's not because of Joe Biden, but because of Elon Musk. The same Elon who torched Twitter censorship, boosted free speech, and was America's golden boy of innovation, now he's calling Trump's Win Big, Beautiful bill a disgusting abomination, and a lot of the Republicans don't like it. And why do they not like it? Or why does he not like it? Because it doesn't cut spending deep enough. He wants more fiscal discipline, more cuts, less spending, which, sure, in theory, we all do. Musk says the GOP has sold out to special interests and abandoned fiscal conservatism. So let's be clear. House Republicans and GOP leadership, they're not thrilled. They're not happy campers with Elon Musk right now, but they can't say a whole lot. They got to kind of keep quiet about this. They worked tooth and nail to move the bill forward, and now they're not quite sure what's going to happen in the Senate. Well, because of Trump's inner circle, they had a what they called a war council on Capitol Hill yesterday with key Senate Republicans. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said it best: failure is not an option. And that's what I've been saying all along. There are things in the bill I don't like, but we cannot just not pass this. Folks, that's Trump's team going on offense by having these meetings with key senators. They're not just defending the budget bill. They're going deeper, harder, and faster. Senator Thune, Roger Marshall, even Vice President J.D. Vance was in the room, according to reports, along with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and economic rock star Kevin Hassett. And what did they say? Well, here's what some of the GOP senators want. They want to get $2 trillion more in cuts. They want to make business tax cuts permanent. And they're pretty clear that they want to stick it to the bloated federal bureaucracy. Hassett even said the economy could grow at 4.6% annually if the budget passes. That's not Bidenomics fantasy. That's MAGA math with real results. And the icing on the cake, Trump's tariffs are raking in more than expected. Folks, this is what we will see when we have strong borders, strong industry, and strong fiscal reform. Now, the CBO, and a lot of, even some GOP members have latched on to CBO numbers. Well, it's a numbers game. Let's talk about those so-called hot numbers from the Congressional Budget Office, or as I like to call them, the bureaucratic magic 8-ball. They rolled out not one, not two, but 3 different projections. They claim Trump's budget adds $2.4 trillion to the debt over 10 years. But wait, they also say Trump's tariffs cut the deficit by $2.8 trillion. Oh, and by the way, they claim 11 million Americans would probably lose their health insurance. So let's get this straight. It adds $2.4 trillion, and I never was good at math. It also cuts $2.8 trillion, which how can you do both, CBO? You have to kind of pick a lane, don't you? House Majority Leader Steve Scalise called them out, and rightly so. He said, you don't have to go far back to see how wrong the CBO has been. Meanwhile, the White House pounced on the good numbers, saying that when you combine it all, the deficit actually shrinks by $500 billion. But here come the Democrats, screaming that 11 million will lose coverage, completely ignoring the fact that many of those are able-bodied adults dumped into Medicaid under Biden's rule by pen. They forget about the fact that we are not a welfare state. If you're able to work, that's the American way. You get a job, you earn your own keep. Well, the Democrats now are starting to whisper, and they're whispering the I word. Yes, impeachment. Here's the swampiest part of the story. Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett, the same one who loves dropping one-liners on the Colbert Show, is already floating impeachment if Democrats take the House in 2026. That's why it's so important in the midterms that we do the right things and we win next year. Now, they've impeached Trump twice, both times political theater. And now they're ready to go for round 3. Based on what? Pardons? Planes to Qatar? What's next? Impeach him for liking Diet Coke? Even some Democrats are beginning to groan. One told reporters she's going to turn off a lot more people than gain. Sure, don't you think they've learned that by now? I mean, they've impeached him twice, and the American people overwhelmingly elected him in November. I mean, give up the impeachment. That's just not a good strategy for anybody. So where are we? Well, you've got Trump's team sharpening the sword, ready to go to battle to get it through the Senate, his big, beautiful bill. Senate Republicans demanding more cuts. CBO's tripping over itself, throwing out their numbers. And Democrats are dusting off the impeachment playbook. Is the bill perfect? No, it's not. But it's a step, a bold step towards fixing the mess that Joe Biden left us in. It's Trump being Trump, doing what the American people sent him to Washington to do. Fight to save the country. And if the Democrats want to call that a betrayal, well, fine. Call it what you want to. But the only betrayal I see is the left turning their backs on American workers, on common sense, and on the Constitution, all because they're still mad at Trump because he beat them again. There's probably a lot of other ways that this could be approached. I mean, people keep talking about, well, why do you have to have a massive bill like this? Why don't you just break it up into one? Well, address some of the critics of the massive measure who say the bill should be broken up. He wrote, for those saying to separate or to do separate bills, each would then require 60 votes, needing Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer instead of 50. Reconciliation is a special process each fiscal year where you can make fiscal changes with only 50 votes. That's why BBB is the vehicle for tax cuts, deportations, and welfare reform. In the reconciliation process, Miller said, you can't make discretionary cuts, like the bureaucracy, just mandatory, like food stamp reform. He said discretionary cuts happen through a separate process known as rescissions. Miller wrapped up with his thoughts on BBB by saying it's the most MAGA bill ever passed by the House, and it's not even close. He said BBB was designed by President Trump and his allies in Congress to deliver on his core campaign pledges to voters, and that is exactly what it does. Certain libertarians in Congress, hint, hint, Rand Paul, who are not MAGA, have their own agenda, and it's not yours. It's not the American people's agenda. Wow. What do you think? Does the Senate get their $2.6 trillion or whatever the number ends up being? Are we going to be in a fight for weeks to come? Text me. Email me. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line. 864-477-JOEY. 864-477-5639. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line. 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. On the text line, Tony says, Joey, the bill adds to spending. How can it be a good bill? So ask me who I trust more, crooked, lying politicians or a guy who built a billion-dollar industry. I guess, Tony, you're saying that you're going to side with Elon Musk on this one. I got it. I hear you. Albert says auto pen signatures should be notarized by using the president's fingerprint. Texter, Joey, I believe when Joe Biden said he would not pardon his son, he actually meant it. I don't believe he did it because I think when he said that he knew the person who was going to do it and he knew it was not going to be him and he pardoned that person instead. May have a good point there. That's an interesting theory. Maybe that's how he could just so matter-of-factly say, I will not pardon my son. Jennifer says, Joey, before you get beat up again, it's Bono. Jennifer, you're not doing this. All right, let me start over. Let me read it. Before you get beat up again, it's Bono with a short O, not a long O. Sonny Bono is the long O. Bono is the short O. Bon as in bonfire and O as in the letter O. Bon-O. Just saying. Is it highness or heinous? Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you throwing salt in the wound. If you missed yesterday's show, I talked a bit about how I was corrected in how I said the word heinous. Or is it highness? Anyway, hey, keep those text messages coming. If I mispronounce something, don't hesitate to correct me. You can text me. You can email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. You can leave me a message on the MyPillow message line. Chuck says their overriding priority of care harm leads to the view that any action against illegals is xenophobic, thus racist, thus immoral. JR on the MyPillow message line had this to say.
This is JR from Westminster, South Carolina. Joey, listen, I think South Carolinians and conservative Americans have had enough. Lindsey Graham, who is supposed to represent the state of South Carolina, is he the senator of Ukraine or is he the senator from South Carolina? With the recent murder of Larisha Thompson by 6 illegal aliens, we haven't heard a peep out of Senator Graham, but yet and still, he's on the big stage, globetrotting with this $1 million junket, partying like it's 1999 over in Ukraine. It's time for Senator Graham to just hang it up, and we're going to help him next year in November of 2026. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, JR. You too can leave a message on the MyPillow message line. Just call 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. And when you order over $100, you're going to receive $100 in free digital gifts. Take advantage of the Giza Dream bed sheets that are still on sale. Any size, any color, $49.98. That's right. You can even get queens, kings, split kings, cow kings, any size, any color, while they last, because when they're gone for just $49.98 when you use promo code Joey at MyPillow.com. There's a new beaver in the South, and Buc-ee's wants to send him back to the lake. The popular Texas-based gas station and convenience store filed a lawsuit in May against North Charleston company Born United for selling merchandise infringing on its trademark beaver. I mentioned this story yesterday and ran out of time, wasn't able to get to it. The lawsuit states, and this is per WDTV5, defendants' slavish copying of the Buc-ee's marks and continued sale of the infringing products even after receiving the cease and desist letter that demonstrates willful infringement and bad faith conduct designed to capitalize on plaintiffs' established goodwill and reputation. Born United isn't the only store catching heat from Buc-ee's. Gothic boutique from Prometheus Esoterica in Winter Park, Florida, is also selling products featuring a rock and roll version of the Buc-ee's mascot. So here's what to know about Born United and the origins of the Buc-ee logo. Born United is a clothing store in North Charleston. According to the company website, its mission is to become a nationwide movement of absolute pride in our flag and what it stands for, the United States of America, and brave men and women who defend our freedom. Cameron Bechtold is the founder of the company. The store carries its own exclusive private label, as well as Grunt Style, Palmetto State Army, Relentless Betrayal, Nine Line Apparel, Howitzer Clothing, the 13th, Mucket Bucket, and others. Items sold at Born United featuring the Buc-ee's trademark includes a T-shirt, shorts, and a tack buck. The lawsuit states that on the patch, the Buc-ee's beaver can be seen donning a military uniform helmet and an assault rifle, the words "Live Free" displayed underneath it. So, why is Buc-ee's mascot a beaver? Buc-ee's founder, Arch Beaver Applin, was nicknamed Beaver as a child. Applin combined his nickname with his dog's name, Buck, to create the name Buc-ee's. The beaver mascot is a visual representation of the original story. Now, according to a Greenville News story, Buc-ee's is going to be coming to the upstate at some point. They've expressed interest in developing a store in Anderson County, but they've been talking about it for about 2 years now. An estimated $40 million would need to be secured for the bridge portion at Liberty Highway in Anderson, according to Rusty Burns, a spokesperson there. A Buc-ee's in Anderson would follow a similar pattern to other Buc-ee's, including featuring local artwork and Clemson memorabilia, along with franchise staples such as Beaver Nuggets and Gator Jerky. The last update the Greenville News received regarding the potential Buc-ee's location was that South Carolina Department of Transportation engineers were studying traffic upgrades needed to bring the brand to Anderson. Look, if Buc-ee's is waiting on the South Carolina Department of Transportation, they may want to revise their business model. You don't wait, or you don't pick a location where you have to depend on the DOT to make changes, do you? Buc-ee's, if they don't realize that now, they'll learn it the hard way. Hey, quickly, President Donald Trump signed a sweeping order blocking travel to the United States from nearly 20 countries identified as high risk for terrorism, visa abuse, and failure to share security information. These new travel restrictions that were announced under Executive Order 14161 apply to nationals from 12 countries, including Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia, Libya, and Yemen, all deemed very high risk due to terrorist activity, weak or hostile governments, and high visa overstay rates. 7 more countries, including Venezuela, Cuba, and Laos, face partial restrictions as well. White House Deputy Press Secretary Abigail Jackson, in a statement, said President Trump is fulfilling his promise to protect Americans from dangerous foreign actors that want to come to our country and cause us harm. She called the restrictions common sense and targeted at countries that lack proper vetting, exhibit high visa overstay rates, or fail to share identity and threat information. Afghanistan, for example, has a student visa overstay rate of 29.3 and is controlled by the Taliban, which, by the way, is a designated global terrorist group. So now there's some people already up in arms because President Trump is restricting travel from some of these countries. They're going to talk about how it's racist and how this is going to hurt some of these people who need to come here for work and that type of thing. Look, it is a privilege to come to visit our country, not a right. No one has a right to do that. And if President Trump thinks that it's a risk, then I'm with him. That's it for today's show. Tara's up next, followed by Mike Gallagher, Bill Frady, Charlie James, Mark Levin tonight. We're back again at 5 a.m. for your first cup of coffee tomorrow and more of Sunrise, Carolina. Till then, folks, remember, God's got this. He's still in control. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.